So thanks to Instagram, I discovered a man by the name of Natan Levy. My opinion is that he's made for fighting, and you guys will discover that he is made for fighting as well. Hey, Natan Levy. Hey, really appreciate you joining me today, for real, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me.
We have to break this down, bro.
Yeah, Ben Lugo.
Ben Lugo, that fight was absolutely insane. I think it's so. Let me start from the beginning. You definitely have like a very traditional karate, very traditional origin martial art, and a lot of times people say that those martial arts are dead. They don't work in the cage anymore. And you're like an advocate for saying no. If done well, these techniques are killer. So I feel like a lot of your fights, you've done a lot of that proving.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's for me, it's kind of it makes me proud, but it's also like kind of strange when people tell me like, oh, you represent traditional martial arts, because I also do modern. What I really represent, of course, it's karate, it's my background, but I really represent is like the traditional styles are good when they advance, when they go,
when they evolve,
water that
right?
Doesn't move, exactly. Water that doesn't move becomes still. I'm not gonna represent styles who say, oh, this is the way it's done, because some Japanese guy said so 100 years ago and we don't change. No, you got to adapt. So I do love all the traditional styles, and I think there is room always to evolve. All the karate styles, all the kung fu styles, they're all mix of different styles. They've all evolved, and then at some point we put the traditional stamp on it, and that's it. It can't change. That's not true. Martial arts can always change. The moment you don't change it, it starts to rot.
100%. And what I meant to say by that is that a lot of people confuse when you have a lot of your fundamentals that come from martial art. You know how some guys have a more of a fundamental stance, and yes, it's a modern, they have a modern take on it, but it's very fundamental. For example, like Lyoto Machida. I don't know if you ever watched him. He had a very fundamental stance.
Times.
A couple times. Yeah. Well, just, Machida's background was a very fundamental karate stance. Now, granted, it was definitely more modern karate. It wasn't all the way traditional, but for the most part, you can tell he was a karate stylist. There are other guys like Sean O'Malley that use a very modern example of many different martial arts. He's used he transitions them together well. So I definitely agree with you there. Same thing with jiu-jitsu, right? Like jiu-jitsu itself, as ancient as it is, it's the meta has changed. You look at a Brazilian jiu-jitsu competition today, it's nothing what it used to look like. So, man, if you don't mind, I'm just going to go ahead and go straight to it. This last fight of yours, what drew me to you at IG and through Instagram was that, you have all this striking and all this amazing things. And it's like, but, I find you testing your ground game lately, almost like on purpose. I felt like you had him in the stand-up in the early round and you decided, screw it. You got an easy takedown that it's so seamless. I love seeing that. I was like, okay, let's see what he does on the ground. And you were able to hold him down amazingly in the first round, which is, he got back up. But I just feel like your game plan was completely different in that. Was that because you wanted to prove something to yourself?
Really, like he got up because I let him get up. The game plan was to take him down and make him work to get up, carry my weight while he's getting up, took him down again, make him carry my weight while he's getting up. So, Ben is a veteran. He had over 25 fights total, like wow. Amateur MMA, pro boxing, pro kickboxing.
Wow.
So even with all the confidence I have in my stand-up, I knew that, putting somebody on their back, it's always easier. Like if you can have your opponent on his back and punch him from on top, why do you need all this ego and being like, oh, I can stand with him? No, why would I? I can punch him while he's trying to get up. Really, he's just trying to recover position, and I'm taking control of it. So really like chess. He's going to do 2 moves. Worst case, he gets up, so we're back to neutral. I'm always going to use it. And like second round, I think I paid more about from relieving pressure. I was starting to like not strike as much when the round began. I was circling around, and that's when he caught me. If I would have kept the pressure on the feet and with takedowns, I don't think it would have happened. But it's a good learning experience for me. He's definitely game. And again, I feel good with my striking, but why would I strike a pro boxer when I can put him on his back?
Hey, you don't have to convince me of that. I love grappling. I mean, so I'm a grappling fanatic. So 100% with you there. It's just crazy how in the first round, you guys went back and forth. To me, the fact that you got to take down, you controlled most of it. And it was an easy round for you to pretty much score. Yeah, I gave it 10-9. And then the second round, like you said, that's where you get dropped, like in the first minute. Do you remember, how does that work? So there's times where people get rocked and they say, I don't remember what happened? I just kept reacting. Were you pretty much there the whole time and just kind of saying, okay, relax? Because one thing you preach a lot about is mental toughness, and you were able to put that on display that night. But you had a moment where you had to weather a storm. Like, if were you there, were you trying to pep talk yourself into like, hey, just survive this? What was your thing? Because you ended up getting a takedown after you got rocked. You got rocked a few times, and you said you shook off the cobwebs, and then you got your own takedown, which to me was phenomenal.
From day one, we learned to stay calm within the storm. That's something you do in training, and if you don't do it in training, it's not going to translate into the fight. But it did. I want to say like I had a pep talk, but really it wasn't that. Like I can remember some parts of the round. For me, I was having a good time. I thought the fight was, going into second gear. And really at some point I found myself like on the floor, kind of like woke up on the floor, I could say. I had both his legs. He was sprawling on top of me. And at that moment I understood. I saw like a drop of blood by my face on the ground. And I was thinking like, is this me or him? Like the blood? And I was like, that's my blood. I think I'm getting my ass beat. Get up. And I just got up, circled, and then I knew I needed to shoot. I was like, I felt like my health bar was low and I couldn't afford to get hit more, because I noticed like I kind of blacked out into that position. So I saw like, okay, I probably got like hurt. And I just knew I had to shoot. I wasn't going to go for like a desperate shot from a mile away. I did what me and my coach were working on before in the locker room and during camp. I just threw a big overhand left, make him block high, open up his legs and grab him.
Yeah, that's why it looked so easy, because you set it up with the threat of the striking, which everyone, again, and it goes back to that. Everyone knows you as the guy who likes to do these things. So like it's going to be in the back of their mind. I think you played into that. Was it in the first round? I have it here where you do the famous move where it showed your positional awareness, not only in your actual body where it was in the map, but where the cage was. And I think this is what I loved. You posted this on Instagram. Like, what position do you call this? The one where he's trying to get control, but you put both your feet on the fence and you don't allow yourself to get swept or lose position. It was amazing. That was super good. And you even put something on the internet, like you said, what position is this? And I put she's ready or something like that, because I'm an idiot. Yeah, that was me. Yeah, man, I love that.
I do a lot of crazy stuff in training. This is one of them. It's pretty basic. I think like the cage is there, push off of it. What really happened is he had me in a guillotine for a moment. I took down the opposite leg, so the guillotine is void. Went for a Von Flute choke.
Ooh, okay.
I wasn't patient enough with it. I should have stayed there for a little longer. But, time moves differently when you're in a cage fight. I went to the knee on belly, which was a mistake. I should have went to the north-south, circle around from his head and went for the armbar. But I just put my knee on his belly while my head was still trapped. So he tried and sweep me. And I just knew the cage was there, so I pushed off of it. I knew he was like putting a lot of energy into like bridging and pushing me off, and I was just hanging out there, letting him spend some energy. Got back on top, and then let go of the choke and went for position control.
Now, something happened where this is what kind of got me a little bit. Were you afraid? So I listened to the commentators as they were talking. I'm not one person that gives 10-8s very easily. A lot of the commentators, and I think one judge agreed, that round 2 where you were in trouble, some people were calling that a 10-8 round. What do you, not just because you're here, because I would tell you otherwise, but yeah. I think that's bullshit. Like, you got rocked, but you ended up on top on that round. You did enough to not make it a 10-8. It was close to being a 10-8.
Yeah, I agree. I think it could have been a 10-8, but the only problem I see with it is if the same thing would have happened at the end of the round, yeah, 10-8 for sure. But it started at the beginning of the round, and then I had a minute and a half at the end of the round that I was dominating. So I don't think it was a 10-8. Maybe not dominating, but I was in control. And he had an armbar, but he had nothing on it. He was really just holding on. I was on top. I don't think it was a 10-8.
10-8 should be, in my opinion, should be reserved more for rounds where the person who got the 8 didn't do that much at all. Like if they didn't strike back, if they never did a wrestling takedown, but you got to control. I got a little bit upset. And what are we getting to? Where one guy gets dropped and it's like a 10-8, like that boxing crap. You know what I mean? Like I was a little bit upset. Like, like I was like, people relax. Like that's not a 10-8. That's like, I was like,
Yeah.
but man, had another judge seen it that way, it would have been a draw. You would have had 2 draws. That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
It boiled down to that in the terms of judging, which to me was a little alarming. Which is why I think it needs to be established. Like, yo, guys, make sure those judges know, or that at least that one judge knows that, hey, did you really see such a one-sided round? There has to be, to me, in my opinion, like, had you not gotten a takedown and had you not been in control of the last parts of that round, I would have been like, maybe, yeah, I guess it doesn't make sense. But that to me is that's just crazy. But
Listen, if that was a 10-8 round, I could argue that the last round was a 10-8 round.
yours,
I completely dominated it. He did nothing to me.
but you didn't rock him though.
I outworked him on the feet. And then I put him on the ground, and I had him the whole round. He didn't land like, the only thing he landed on me was like elbows to the thigh from the bottom.
Right.
Nothing else. So I could argue it. I wouldn't.
I don't think it's close. I don't know. I'm going to say the third round, I could not be close to a 10-8. And that's because you didn't hurt him. I think the reason that 10-8 gets such an emphasis is because that he hurt you. Like it was a very, now granted, you ended the round
No,
strong.
I agree. It definitely was closer to a 10-8 than me. But
By a lot though. Like it would, I don't think
it's 10-8 because I completely dominated the third round.
A 10-8 has to be a domination with a obvious significance in damage. Like there has to be, you have to rock the person. You have to while the person's trying to recover, you're still punching them. The punches are clean in the follow-up. If you do that on top of a dominant round, now we're talking 10-8. But if you're talking about like what you did in the third round, I would say strong 10-9, but never 10-8. That'd be my opinion. But what your point though is like, hey, I got, the round 2 was a strong 10-9. So we're both strong 10-9s. One of them got called a 10-8. And what I'm trying to tell you is that I see the difference in the fact that one fighter got hurt. That's what it boils down to. That's why the argument's closer in round 2, but I still think it's ridiculous. It's not close enough.
So, again, just for the sake of argument.
Sure.
What's harder? To hit one good punch and rock somebody, or control somebody for 5 minutes and make him your
bitch? Oh, you don't curse? Let me ask you something. You don't,
no, I curse. I wasn't sure if you're down.
Hey man, listen. If they take down, if they don't monetize me because I said bitch, bro, then take it down this video. I don't care. It's not worth it anyway, bro. Like I like if I'm talking to you, so I want to talk to you and just get the best out of you. Fuck it.
No. To be real, I have too much respect for Lugo to call him that.
Right. No, but I see what you mean.
But you know what I mean, like
philosophically speaking,
if you wrestle fuck somebody for 5 minutes, for me it requires more than just landing a punch, which I respect both. And again, don't think like he definitely was closer to a 10-8 than me. I'm just saying.
Yes. So I think that the problem we're facing now is the judging lens versus and by the way, holy shit, I wasn't even thinking about talking about this, but anyway, I'm having fun. So I think what we're looking at is the judging aspect versus like the reality of MMA, which is that, I agree with you. Like jiu-jitsu requires such an insane amount of chain movement to keep the control there that no matter what they do, you're always one step ahead. And if you can do that for 5 minutes, that's a 10-8. But I think the judges are looking for damage in 10-8 just because it's part of what they're told. They get this little book. They get this little book in front of them that says, hey, don't give 10-8s unless there's damage on top of this control. And let's be real, MMA is flooded with boxing judges. And even then they get it wrong in the boxing game. So I'm kind of upset about that, which is why they were like, oh, it should be a 10-8. What, because he dropped them? Look what Natan did at the end, bro. So
yeah.
By the way, you let me know if you got
also maybe like I'm not sure about new rules. Shouldn't like a 10-9 be a very close round, but you got to give it to somebody? 10-8 be like a normal round and 10-7 be a domination? Is there were like something like that, rule changing, but nobody really adapted it?
That's a good idea. I've never heard that one. And I've spent a lot of time talking about how to make the system better. That's a great one.
I thought these were the new unified rules. Pretty sure. And like more 10-10s be, if like a round is really, really close, then don't just give out 10-9 to give out 10-9. Give it 10-10.
Unified rules for who? For like LFA or MMA in general, like UFC, everybody?
I think MMA in general, but I might be completely wrong, but that's what I thought.
The cards this weekend, unless I don't know, the cards this weekend were none of them were crazy, even in dominant rounds. None of them were like 10-8s. Like 10-8s, the judges are still, the commentators are still debating it, so I don't think it's a thing. But that's a heck of an idea, and I'm really down for that. 10-9 if it's a close round, but you have to pick someone. 10-8 for a clear winner, and 10-7 for what used to be a 10-8, basically.
Exactly.
You know what, man? I'm gonna have to. I think I might make some videos on this. I think I'm gonna make some videos on this shit and be like, okay. So get this. Check this out. Not my idea. Not my idea. Apparently, it's. Yeah, man. So the third round was very straightforward. We're gonna close off with this. The third round was very straightforward. Again, using your striking to get your grappling. Just the way you chamber it, bro. It's I think what's gonna make you have a lot of success inside the cage. And I'm just really impressed to see how your level changes continue to be a good success for you. Because I think you're also the type of guy that you don't force things. I mean, like you said, if I can take you down and hold you there, I'm not going to force the stand up. If I can see that the grappling is going to be difficult, then I might, fake a takedown and then use that to maybe throw something else to catch you. So I think that kind of mentality and approach is going to be one that brings you success, especially since you do a lot of wild things in there. And I feel like we haven't seen the best of you yet. I really don't.
Not yet.
I think you're still a little compared to what you will be. I think this is like little baby Natan. I don't think it's.
I agree.
Cool. Oh yeah, fuck yeah, I agree. Shit, I'm gonna fucking go out there. Okay. Listen, bro. I really appreciate this for real. So and I think now it's after the footage we're about to play. After the footage we're playing, I think it's obvious to the audience why you, Natan Levy, are made for fighting, and we can't wait to see you fight again. Seriously, we appreciate it.
Thank you very much.